Welcome back, I'm the Watch Nerd. On this video, we're going to be diving into the Rolex Daytona, the first one I've had on the channel. Now this is the first full-length review, and this could be straight. Now this one is the 116523, and it is the gray face, but we'll get to the specs when we turn it around. Before we do though, I quickly want to remind you of my Chanel chain giveaway. I'm going to be giving this out as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you're interested or want to be entered, there's the 4 steps in the description below. Now first starting ourselves on, let's zoom just a little bit in and see this piece. It is beautiful. So this is two-toned, 18 karat gold on the crowns, the pusher, the bezel, and the mid of the bracelet is solid link at this time. This one's 2002. So easy way to tell with these Daytonas with the steel bezels is with the second hand. If the second hand is in the far left position, it is the zenith, and if it's at the 6th, it's the in-house, and they completely changed it out. And I definitely want to talk further in another video about what I think they did with this watch. This watch changed Rolex forever. In 2000, when they released it, the movement, I should say, because when they released an in-house movement in their Daytona, that was really the last piece in the collection where they held out. They held out for a long time. They used Zenith for 12 years, and then they finally had enough, and I believe it's making them more of a higher brand. It breathed new life into them. Rolex are big players, and they can start producing crazy movements. This is way before the Yachtmaster 2, or of course the Sky Dweller, which is absolutely beautiful and deserves 7 patents on the movement. 7 Rolex had to apply for. So it's those are big deal movements. Even the chronograph though, this was the change in tide with me. But before I go too much into my rant, I do want to talk about Pacific specs for this piece. So the movement is the 4130. This is the in-house version. 72 hours, 44 jewels, a great movement, runs at 28,800 BPH, which means it is 8 ticks of the second hand, but I'll get to that because that is not the second hand. Some people actually, I've gotten some emails saying that on the chronograph, why doesn't the second hand move? It's actually the sub-seconds, and I know some people don't get that, but these are the actual second hands, and these are the chronograph. It's for the 2 other ones, but I discussed that in my chronograph video. Coming to the case, it is 40 millimeter across, 20 mil lug width, and lug to lug I measured in at 47 with 12.2 millimeters thick. So great watch, a little thick to be a dress watch, just in my opinion, and this is not a dress watch. It's never meant to be, but at the same time, I'll talk about why the Daytona is probably one of the only watches that I could have as a one-watch collection. And I know some people that do have the Daytona as a one-watch collection, but it is definitely very, very cool to me. Lastly, this is a Y serial number, so that's the second half of 2002. So that's what this one is dated to. And so it's a pretty new, when they first released it, it was 2.5 years in production because they released it in 2000. So it's not random. And nowadays, I did, in one of my videos, Hunt for Steel, I found this piece brand new with a white face. And I believe they're trending around the 17,500 area retail. I believe that's what it was. And you can pick these up for a bit more affordable, and these are the discontinued versions. So if you have a chance, this is what I say, to pick up something from Rolex that's discontinued or brand new, because both of the two-tone, it depends on your look too, it depends on what you want, but both of the two-tone, the new one doesn't have ceramic. So it's virtually the same type of look. Of course, there's differences people will notice right away, but for an average eye, it's not really that much. So if you didn't want to pay the full retail, you can come back to the older model that's discontinued and get it for a more affordable price. That's one of the only ones that really you can do that with. The steel models, is, you can get them too, but it's also a bit more expensive than the two-tone. So on this particular 116523 reference, there's different dials, and I want to talk about that. This is a gray sunburst effect, as you can see on this dial. Beautiful dial. The gold on the inner
sub dials. Really, really beautiful. But there's the blue version of this, and I don't think they're trending around the price where I think it's going to go. When John Mayer talked about the blue white gold, and it did jump in price, not like the green did, but still, it's an hard to get piece at retail. Nobody talks about this piece. Now, I know it's two-tone, but it's a very cool dial. Now, you can actually see the red on the hands. It's just a really unique piece, and I think that is definitely one of the pieces that will go up with in time. This one is beautiful too. I think the gray is really nice. Champagne, I know for sure. On this piece. Now, unscrewing the pushers, because it is 100 meters of water resistance on this piece, and I believe they could have made it even further. At the same time, this is a trip lock crown, I do have to mention, so that's what they use on Submariner. It's the same water resistance on the crown. The pushers themselves, it's a different story, because this is the only piece that is a chronograph except for the Yachtmaster 2, but that's a different type of chronograph. It is not like this type. It's a 10-second. So this is a full 12-hour chronograph, and it's just really, really beautiful. Smooth action, as you can tell. And this one it really takes a beating. As you can see, this previous owner really loved this piece, and it is a scratch magnet on that bezel. As you can see here, it's all scratched up, but it's still a beautiful piece. I would wear it. It tells a story. That's what I think. At the same time, ceramic is bulletproof, so you would have to make that decision if you wanted one of these pieces, if you want to pay a little more and get the ceramic and steel, or you can get it on Oyster Flex and solid gold too, they make it. But at the same time, these pieces virtually look the same. There are some differences, as I'm saying, but this iconic piece, it's here to stay. I don't think Rolex is going to change it substantially. So if you were to go and buy something from the early 2000s in 2050, this watch can look subtle differences on the dial, but very, very similar. So that's my predictions on the Daytona. So we got a screw down case back. And at this point, they did upgrade a bunch of things. They made it a milled clasp here. Really nice. I think that's well-deserved, because the Zenith, they had a pressed clasp. I feel like they're putting more care, even though they did a lot to that Zenith, but they didn't, they took out 33% of the parts. They also slowed down the beat rate to 28,800, which was really nice because of the service. I think that's all you need. As you can see, it's very smooth. It is a little bit nicer, the smooth on the Zenith, because it's faster, but at the same time, you don't want to go service your watch every 5 years. You want to have a healthy movement and keep it good. Now, these are all my opinions, of course, and if you have other differing opinions, I would love to know. But it's very, very interesting. It has great lume. Believe it or not, the lume pips are very good. I'll actually show it off really quick. The seconds is also lume, so you just have the seconds, and the hour markers are lume there. And you don't have the chronograph lume, but you really shouldn't be using this chronograph if it's pitch black. It's meant to have light on it right there, and it's really, really nice. Now, before I want to do some outside shots, because it's a little different with the lights here inside, so I'll do an outside shot and show you what it looks like. And it's just a quick little review today. I really love it. As you can see, it has the paragraph little text 4 lines up there, and a Swiss made on the bottom, Daytona in red. It's just beautiful. Everything about this watch is absolutely beautiful, and these are, I think, the most affordable way to get into the Rolex Daytona at this time. This is 2021 February, but I don't think that there's a more affordable piece. Really, I don't think so. I'm trying to think right now of all the collection, but I think this is the best. And you're getting in for, depending on what it is, 14,500, 15,000, depending. The prices change almost every day on these pieces, so it all depends on when you get into it, and it could drop, it could go up. It's got that beautiful chronograph hand, all the yellow gold in the inside to match the two-tone aesthetic. Now, before I actually put it on, I do have to mention this has the Easy Link. Even the new ones have the Easy Link. The only ones that have the glide lock are the Submariner. So if you want to glide lock, Submariner, Deep Sea, I should say, all the divers, they have it. So anything with a diver has it. And putting it on here, I just opened it up. Look at this. It's beautiful. The proportions are perfect. Just in my opinion, I think they're great. And even smaller wrists to even bigger wrists, guys. can have this watch, and it feels perfect on the wrist. Honestly, in my opinion, there is no better chronograph out there, just because I love this piece so much. I think it's a staple. Now, at the same time, this is a sports racing chronograph. This is my favorite racing chronograph. And that doesn't include the Speedmaster. I don't think you should compare this to the Speedmaster. It's a different thing. But these are all topics for another video. I would love to know your comments. So what do you think about this particular Daytona, and what value it's at? What would yours, if your dream Daytona, what would it be like? What dial would it be? And I'm just going to reset it and let you out. So I want you to see the Stoppman. It's the pushers, the action on it is absolutely amazing. Stops and resets perfectly. So that's where I want to leave it here. I will definitely catch you all in the next one. Have a fantastic day.